love to learn about these con men.
Yeah.
And the balls that they fucking have.
So I wonder, what's your hierarchy of shittiness?
On the show? Okay, what did you go for?
Well, I'm thinking I think Jeff was the shittiest one.
Jeff Lowe.
Yeah. I thought Carol was the shittiest because she positions it as an animal rescue, and nothing about that seemed any different than any zoo.
Okay, go.
And so my girl's a big like animal rights person, and a little bit of that is rubbed off. I feel a little bad for the cats, but generally speaking, whatever. I just don't like, hey, this is a rescue. Hey guys, come pay money to watch whatever, and then you can look at the animals. Also, I'm making $25,000 every week on Facebook, and it's a rescue, but in reality, it's just a zoo.
And who paid their employees the least?
Oh, all their employees were paid nothing. They're volunteers.
They're volunteer. Right?
Carol paid the least.
Carol paid the least.
That's a cult in itself.
It is a cult, and she looks like a cult bitch. And
shit. Hey there, cats and kittens.
This is the other thing I was going to say. My girl hops in.
That's how we got to start every episode. Hey there, cats and kittens. Yeah.
My girl hops in like episode 6 or something, and she's like, "What? Big Cat Rescue? I know that. That's where there's this IG girl, Yo Ventura, who's always like petting baby tigers and shit." And she was like, I think that's where Yo Ventura is always going to pet the tigers. So your whole fucking point is you shouldn't be allowed to pet these animals. But there's this IG thought who can just come in and pet them whenever she wants.
So you're PR.
You're doing the same shit, bitch. Don't think it's different.
And we saw the videos where she used to be a breeder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just a failed breeder. It's like, I don't know how to make this business work, so let me just go against everybody else doing it.
And to that point, if you noticed, and they had a little snippet of this at the end of the final episode, you know a lot about people based on their intentions when they start, right? Like when we all start comedy, we're very pure, right? And then certain things might get in the middle of it, money gets in the way.
Reality kind of gets in the way.
Reality gets in the way, whatever it is. But when you start, you're actually really pure with comedy, right? When Joe started, there's a little snippet, there's an old black and white footage where he goes, you know, these animals are only supposed to be in Asia and India, and, you know, we got to control breeding and, you know, there's a little snippet of him because he started pure, right?
Yeah.
And we'll get to why these people like are drawn to animals in general, but like there was a real purity to him. Carol started
impure.
Yeah. And she found a mask for that impurity. I think with Joe, it was almost like The Ring. Remember Lord of the Rings? Like the more you get addicted to the ring, the harder you turn into. Off, and I think that's what happened. It's like all of a sudden you got 20 fucking tigers that need $10,000 a month worth of food. I got to find a way to feed these motherfuckers. So you do the cub petting, and then you do it more and more, and it becomes more and more normalized.
Yeah, I mean, you're making a little money, and why not? And what's also interesting is they talk at the end. Everybody could go right now. They got information. Joe Exotic is snitching on everybody. Oh, yeah. Everybody's in trouble except this bitch.
She's the only
She's
one.
Fucking Marlo in The Wire. I'm done. I'm clean.
She got it. Like, she's a criminal, like,
mastermind.
Yeah, the best type.
She killed her husband?
Yeah.
Yes, that's
what you guys think she killed.
100% killed her husband.
100%.
You think?
Yeah, I think so.
Like,
why?
There's no doubt in my mind that she did.
I mean, it's just so convenient, and she benefited so greatly. Like, she had a motive. She had, like, a way to do it.
And the will that said upon death or disappearance.
Yeah, bro, the will part was like, come on, son. Yeah. Come on. That's what I was like,
explain that to anybody who's listening right now. So
you probably explain it better, but in her will, essentially, or the will that she had,
she was
married
to this
husband.
guy, right? Yeah. She was married to this guy.
Married to a multimillionaire.
Many different business ventures.
Marriage is falling apart.
But he was also interested in the animals first.
Yes.
Right? And he liked these exotic animals, and then they both started to kind of get into it together, and he saw it as a business with the cub breeding. He wanted to do it in Costa Rica. Marriage starts to fall apart. He starts to get concerned. He's like, yo, this bitch might kill me. Like, I'm actually... He starts to tell...
tried to file a restraining order.
He files a restraining order.
He threatened to kill him.
And he tells his assistant, hey, if anything happens to me, release this. Yeah. Right? And what was in there? Was a will and testament or some shit like that? Last rites?
Yeah, last rites. Yeah,
no. If he goes, if anything happens to me, release this. And it was him asking for a restraining order from his wife that was denied because you can't give a restraining order unless there's an actual threat.
Right. She just said, I'm going to kill you.
Saying you're going to kill you is allowed because it's freedom of speech. You're allowed to say that, right?
I didn't know that,
Joe.
I thought that's a crime.
Maybe if you watched it, you'd like it. All of a sudden you're fascinated.
You sounded like such a girlfriend.
I know. It's like a neck starts moving with.
Okay. So getting the claws out.
Here's some chocolate, babe.
So
Maybe you fucking listened for once.
Yeah. So, what's it called? So, where were we?
The
will.
Restraining order, the
So
will.
restraining order, everything like that. The husband, right before he goes to Costa Rica, he's about to go to Costa Rica to do this like cub thing where he wants to like breed these cubs, maybe take the whole zoo and take it down there where it's much more legal, or it's just not illegal yet because they don't know about fucking human beings breeding cubs. It's just a brand new country. So she basically kills him right when he was about to separate her from all his wealth.
Yeah.
She kills him. And then there's his fucking will that's in a lockbox in the assistant's office.
Yeah.
The assistant is not allowed access to her office. Carol and her fucking lawyer, whoever it is, are in the office overnight. They remove the wills. She goes the next day. There is no will there. Like, this is so fucking blatant that she killed this man.
How the fuck did she get away
And
with
all of a
this?
sudden, whereas the assistant had power of attorney, that was a new document saying Carol has my power of attorney.
And power of attorney, explain what that means.
It means I can speak on your behalf whether you're there or not. If I give you my power of attorney, you can go into my bank account and be like, hey, I have his power of attorney, give me all the money.
And what does the new will say? No, it's not a new will. 5 years after someone's death, you can declare them. 5 years after someone's disappearance, you can declare them dead.
Yeah.
Okay? So 5 years and 1 day.
Yeah. She says, I am the beneficiary, the sole beneficiary in this will. She cuts his first family out, kids out, wife out, whatever. Also, in the will, it said, upon my death or disappearance, all my assets go to.
It doesn't say death.
Really?
It just says disappearance.
That's the first line.
That's the craziest
The
thing.
first
Because she could have
fucking
faked his death or something.
Yes.
But instead, she had to fake his disappearance.
What kind of will says, if I disappear, all my assets go to?
Have you ever been worried about disappearing ever in your life?
In my life, have I been worried about disappearance?
Yeah, you should have seen his reaction to magic earlier. This guy doesn't care anything about disappearing or reappearing or guessing a goddamn card. Akaash. But seriously, it's a specific and absurd thing to say.
Yeah.
Right? Disappear. Like, it's so obviously blatantly her. And I think the documentary tries to make it obvious and blatant.
Yeah.
And even through that, you're like, how the fuck has the FBI not investigated this at all?
The creepiest part is how rehearsed her like excuses.
Oh,
like, the last
yeah.
day.
What was it?
Do you remember? So they show the clip from like the 90s, and she's like, "Yeah."
The last thing he said to me was, "Get the truck ready," and like the verbiage is exactly the same.
Yeah, get it ready early in the morning, and then she says it like on the interview with them.
20 years later.
Yeah, she's like, "Yeah, he told me he was gonna get up early in the morning," and like the same exact like word for word creepy. Yeah. Bro, she's a murderer.
So she decided what her excuse was going to be, decided the verbiage, and everything
stuck
like
to it completely.
For 20
it's not a memory;
years.
it's a written like.
Because memories change.
Yeah.
No, it's a written dialogue.
Those are the best criminals. If your story never changes, you can't get caught.
So that's the other thing they say about like criminals, right? It's like, or actually not criminals, about innocent people. Innocent people don't remember what they're doing when crimes were committed.
Yeah.
Because
it was a regular day.
It's a regular day.
Yeah.
They say innocent people are the hardest people to defend. Because if I say, hey, what were you doing last Friday? And you go...
At 11:30 a.m.
I don't know.
If I didn't have a specific thing, I'd be like, I don't know.
So then how the fuck you have an alibi?
Yeah.
How the fuck you have an
alibi?
alibi?
A lot of times it's not even last Friday. A lot of times it's like, what were you doing Thursday?
2 months ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you gotta make some shit up that might not even be accurate. And...
Do you really think that if I go 2 months ago, what did I say to you at 11:30? You're gonna be like, oh, you said they'd be there early.
Yeah.
You're gonna remember the exact sentence.
Yeah, she killed.
That's why she's top dog out of all the.
Okay, she's number one. Yeah. Number two,
Joe.
I didn't like
Joe more than Jeff.
No, Jeff more.
Jeff.
Why? But Jeff, he was like. You knew who he was. He was already a criminal. Like
he just looks like he wears affliction shirts.
Yeah, the
dude.
fucking hat with
an Oakley hat.
He looks like a sketchy motherfucker.
What does Joe look normal to you?
Yeah.
Joe Exotic looks trustworthy.
Son, if I was gay, Joe could get it.
He wouldn't give it to you, but yeah.
I got too many teeth and I'm 210.
Son. Yeah, I don't know. Jeff. Just Jeff.
Joe looks more friendly than Jeff.
Joe looks more friendly than Jeff. I like Joe's limp better than Jeff's.
Yeah.
Jeff's walk.
But I'm saying in terms of trustworthiness, neither one of them looks like a guy you want to do business with. Jeff was just fucking people over left and right. And I guess Joe was doing that too. Maybe Jeff just had zero charisma. So you're like, fuck this guy more.
Charisma.
Yeah, he had zero charisma.
Zero charisma.
That's why it's like he
Sharp
wasn't
goatee.
that good of a connoisseur. Because he fucked up in Vegas early.
Yeah.
Like
No,
Joe had this scam going on for years.
So maybe you're right. Maybe I was more like
conned.
conned by Joe. So I'm like, he's not as bad because I put him fourth.
Oh wow.
I put it Jeff, then Doc, then Joe.
I kind of like Doc. Dude.
So I like Doc.
Man, legend.
So I like Doc. Okay, Doc is interesting. Doc is cold.
That's the thing. Cold and polished and
Cold
just
and polish.
Yo, it's almost like he was the only person that wasn't broken. Him and Jeff also. That's another thing. You could see how Joe was broken early on. In episode 1, Joe says the story, him coming out to his father. His dad makes him shake his hand in front of his mom to say, when I die, you will not be at my funeral.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that guy's broken from then on.
Yeah.
Most of these people were broken. Jeff was not broken. Doc was not broken. Carol's just out of her fucking mind, I think.
Do you think
she's broken, dude?
Oh, Carol's broken.
Remember the story?
It's
Yeah,
true.
I mean, I want to get into that. Maybe no. Let's go through the rankings and then we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But Doc was interesting because Doc has done something, and I'm curious your take on this. But like, you often see like white people grab onto Eastern philosophy,
Yeah.
and then, well, I mean, you see you guys do it too, but like use the philosophy as like a manipulation tactic
Yeah.
because apparently it's very effective to people who are empty. Like
Yeah.
Eastern philosophy fills fucking empty people up. Like
Yeah.
I remember when my brother was going through a really hard time, he got into Osho.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Like I think you and him were
I didn't
like
know it was
talking
Osho,
briefly.
but I remember he was talking to me about Hinduism stuff. And
It
I
was
was just
Osho.
like, yeah, okay, wow.
Yeah, he
What's
was
Osho?
Osho's the guy who had
Wild
that,
Wild Country. It's another one that I wasn't as into as
on
everybody
Netflix.
else.
The Rajneeshi people, they would all dress in like the reds and pinks. It was out in what was it?
Oregon. It's just vegans in the 70s.
Oh, okay.
But it was a whole
It was
cult
the yoga
that they
guy
shut
who
down.
was fucking people.
Yeah, vegans.
No, that's a different one.
Oh,
That was an Indian guy.
I was an Indian guy. So, well, so was Rajneeshi. Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
So, so like, he kind of tapped
doing it
into
too.
this shit.
Dude,
Yo,
that's
you know
crazy.
what it is? And maybe it happens in India. I don't know if it is. But like, maybe the type of person that comes to America is willing to do whatever the fuck it takes
Interesting.
to win. Is
Interesting.
willing to sacrifice whatever it
Well,
is.
Doc was born here, and he did the same thing.
Sure, because like I think he's bred within it. But
Mm.
like, were we having this discussion?
I can't remember.
But there's something about the people that come here, like all of our parents that decide to come here,
Yeah.
like that immigrated here, made a choice to just leave their fucking families
Mm-hmm.
and never see.
Yeah,
them
we talked about it on the
again.
podcast.
We
yeah.
talked about this on the podcast. So there's a little fucking
Yeah.
psychosis going
Yeah.
on there, right?
Yeah. My theory, though, because I'm watching this, and I'm watching this guy, like, pervert my religion or whatever, and I'm thinking about Wild Wild Country or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about this fucking yoga guy who's doing the hot yoga, Bikram, and
Bikram,
fucking
yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, why are these people, not the manipulators, the manipulated.
Actually, getting rejected by everybody. That was the saddest part of the Bikram documentary.
Oh,
It's
he's,
like,
he can't even
none of these
rape.
bitches will fuck him.
It's easier to rape in
Like,
India, I guess.
Usually, if you're a cult leader, like, you go get some pussy, right? Like, but girl after girl was like, nah. I was like, nah.
That's insane. Now I actually want to watch this
You
documentary.
gotta
to be
watch
honest
this
with you.
documentary. This guy was getting rejected like an Indian.